Hey. Hello again. So, I guess we'll get started with the usual structure. I actually have the same structure as like how I do these vlogs every time. It's like the same like order how it goes. So, first thing, what happened today? The student numbers were like as high as it is, everyone turned up basically. So each class like had all the students we've got in them. It was good. Juniors, like last week we had the awards ceremony, and I had to like announce these two students that I was giving mine to, but of course they weren't there. But so this week today, I gave them their awards, and it was kind of a generic award, just for good students basically. And that's the two I gave to. I think I think they deserve it. The good students. They're definitely always fun to work with and everything. And I did work with them quite a bit today, both of them. So that was good, and they clearly were very happy with what they got. That's good. Always nice to see, actually. It's quite interesting. The way like teaching kids is how you as a teacher, it's weird. You definitely notice it more. How you things you do can have an effect on them, and it can raise them up. It's quite interesting. Then seniors, we had two. One was from a different class, but they were doing it. They actually do the ladies kickboxing as well. So they did the adult session and then they did the kickboxing afterwards. So that went well. And then in the kickboxing, we went through all the stuff that they have to do for their grading. The gradings are slightly different for them. They've got like a fitness test as part of it, because it's a slightly different kind of lesson thing compared to regular jiu-jitsu. It's less about raw self-defense stuff, and there's more emphasis on having fun, hitting stuff, and fitness as well. There's more emphasis on those elements. But yeah, it's just to kind of show them what it's like, to show that they can do it fairly easily, and to give them the confidence to go ahead and do it. It's not kind of as mandatory to grade. Of course, they won't be able to progress through the syllabus, and like they'll be stuck only doing beginner stuff if they don't. But it's not quite the same as like a traditional art, like the jiu-jitsu or anything, where the belt structure and progressing is kind of seen as one of the key things. Whereas this class sort of started without it, and then it's kind of brought in as like optional, and now we're trying to make it more like it is in the regular jiu-jitsu, just for that progression really. Some might be put off by the price of grading. It's weird. I don't know. I never really thought about it before. I was never bothered by it. But like I said, in jiu-jitsu, when you're doing it, it's kind of part of it. It's just the natural progression. I don't know. I've never been that bothered by grading prices personally, but I'm very motivated to do it. So I'm not as bothered about money, because I care more about just doing it and learning and stuff. So I'm not as bothered about how to dish out money to learn and stuff. So next section in the structure. What have I learnt today? It's just good for me to reflect. So I suppose it's like I said before, with like manhandling the kids a bit more, sort of physically moving them, and to help them understand the technique or learn it, because it is a bit tricky to try and just use words to demonstrate. You have to kind of just grab their arms and just do it for them and stuff. Is to not be afraid to do the same sort of thing with like the adults as well in both classes, the adult and the kickboxing one. Just to help them if they're struggling. It's not weird or a bad thing. So, but it's still something that you have to get used to. But yeah, not to be afraid to kind of just. It's like with the kickboxing we were doing. It's more of a jiu-jitsu thing than a kickboxing thing, but it's brought in anyway, sort of implemented into it for whatever reason, and it's like these very traditional hard blocks, and sometimes they were like getting a bit confused as to which way they're moving their arm and stuff, and I just have to like grab their arm and manually demonstrate the movement with them, and it's fine. It just helps them to get it right, and they picked it up fine after that, so that's a good thing moving forward. And then another thing is in like all classes in general, like at the end when you finish, just to remind them about things like that are coming up soon, like courses, grading, any other kind of event, or I guess if there was like a shop sale or something, because the club has its own online shop now. That's more of a business side thing. Naturally, I'm trying to learn more about that as well. So to make them, because there are emails and stuff that go out with all these dates for different things that are coming up in the future, although like throughout the year. But naturally, reminding everyone in person about it, and then if they've got any questions, they can directly ask at the moment. So yeah, that's a good thing to bear in mind, I suppose. So, third section. What would I do differently next time as a way of improving? So, I think I'd continue in the same mindset of what I think I did last week, which is trying to increase the amount of correction I do when I see poor technique. This is mainly in reference to the kickboxing, because they have it's just like a line out. It's like two lines, and they just do the same techniques in like line outs. And I constantly watch what they're doing, and I see like some are like constantly not moving the foot in the right way, or they're doing a hook punch funny in a way, or like some are doing like a half hook, half uppercut type thing, or stuff like that, and just about trying to correct those things more. And also, especially as we're coming up to the grading in like 2 weeks' time, more refinement of their technique, trying to boost their skill level, try and just get them that little bit better just before the technique kind of reflects well on us as coaches in this new club, and it's good for them as well, of course. It's like just about trying to develop more confidence doing that, not being afraid to say, because it's weird, like why would I hesitate? I guess it's because I don't want them to feel insulted or make them feel like they're rubbish, because I'm constantly trying to fix stuff, and some people do interpret it that way, but I don't think they're really actually like that, and that they've definitely not been like that when I've actually have done it a few times. But I'd like to increase the amount that I do it, and I think it's just one of those things I just have to keep working on, and over time it should get better and better. So yeah. Final section. Anything else that's happening throughout this week or that's going on? So actually, I didn't mention, I think I forgot to mention it last week, but for my birthday I got a new book. Where is it? Here we go. Hey. Nice. Pressure point stuff should be pretty interesting, I think. Stupid book. Right. Yeah, so that's good. I guess I'll have it next on my reading list. Obviously I've got Tao of Jeet Kune Do to finish. It's taken me ages because, you know, I read in a very slow way, and I also don't have any like set time for reading. I try to like fit it in just randomly. Most of the time it comes in like, say if I arrive to work a few minutes early, I'll be able to get like 10 minutes of worth in there. That's like 2 pages or something, 2 or 3 pages. But the way I do it, or I like doodle all over it and stuff. Part of me thinks that maybe I should try just not being so thorough in trying to highlight things in the book in order to get through it faster, and trusting that I'll retain it. But I don't know, I like to study the material and absorb it thoroughly, and with it being martial arts stuff, you have to like identify things that look promising and then actually go out and practice them. And because I can't, with the way my current timetable works, I can't really do that consistently. It's why I haven't really got like set reading time, because I just can't fit it in. But with what I'm trying to create for myself, I should hopefully be able to have more reading time and also be able to actually study the material and practice it, and then I can see if I like it or not and want to incorporate it into my own stuff, my own training or whatever, you know. So in preparation for that, because I'll probably just go back and read back through a bunch of the books I've already read, and because I've highlighted the stuff that I think is most important, or like put within random notes and stuff, I'll be able to go through it much faster, very quickly, and then just identify the stuff to trial out and have a go with and all that. So got a new audiobook as well. It's called You Can't Hurt Me. It's kind of all about mental toughness, I suppose. It's about like the importance of a strong, indestructible mindset. And yeah, I've listened to an audiobook sort of about that sort of thing before, but it's good to have this other one to kind of build on that, because I think that is one of the hardest things in anything, like success on any kind of level, whether it be fitness or job wise or whatever. It's like having the right mindset, and there's times where I feel like I have had a really good mindset, I've made loads of progress, and there's other times, like more recently, that's slipped away a bit, and I've kind of gone into this medium level. It's not bad, but it's not like I'm not pushing myself as hard as I could be, so I'm not making progress as well. I don't feel like I'm moving forward as fast. Part of that could also be because I'm trying to do more things now. It's like trying to do more stuff at once, and that obviously doesn't really work out too well. It was easier more like several months ago when I wasn't doing as much. That was like before I started like the channel. There's a bit of pressure that kind of makes it a bit harder, because I'm also trying to constantly split my focus on, like, I'm referring mainly to my fitness stuff. Like, I made lots of good progress on different fitness goals, and now I'm struggling to get to different levels and trying to push myself more. It's not as easy. I think part of that's because my focus is split up more. and part of that is like the channel I'm trying to focus on. Not just the content's not too difficult to come up with. It's more the lack of filming opportunities and like how can I fix that issue. Like I've sort of thought recently about trying to do less stuff outside, because obviously that's subject to the weather very much. The main issue is just that it's really windy where I live, and that's always really annoying to try and deal with. But yeah, I'd like to do something maybe more slideshowy and like change the topic to be more like discussion based around different topics instead, with like voiceover, because that I can just do inside all the time. Maybe, I don't know, I have to figure something out. I've had some idea about doing like reaction stuff to different fights and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm still mulling that over. Yeah, this new audiobook, it's kind of all about mental toughness and developing a mindset and trying to like it's one of those books with like challenges in it to try and help you actually implement the lessons learnt in it. And I've sort of done the first one just before recording this, and it's kind of all about what are all the things that have or are holding you back, what is all the bad things, all the like annoying stuff that you've had to try and deal with. For me it's kind of feels like it's more I'm in my own way. Maybe I'm a bit too hard on myself about it, I don't know. I'm trying to like be all maximum productivity because I'm trying to do loads of different things at once. Like I've got a channel to try and make half decent and like potentially try and grow in some way if I can. Of course that's quite tricky, especially if the content's like not particularly high production quality. But and then like there's the whole club stuff, trying to sort my own club out and stuff, and all the different things I need for that. And then there's the fitness training, like how I'm trying to learn more and push myself more on it, and I'm trying to fit that around like work and other life stuff, so it's like always doing something. And I guess it's quite mentally draining to try and be like that productive, that on work all the time, but at the same time I feel like I can do it. But yeah, so it's kind of like, for me, the main thing that's kind of I've identified is like in my way is like, one, the whole anxiety crap, which is annoying, and two is because everything for me, like growing up in my lifestyle in general, has been really easy. I've not had to work super hard to survive. Like I have always felt quite envious of, in a weird way, of some people who have harder upbringings, because that forces them to bring the best out of themselves. And for me, I've never had that, and it's kind of really hard not to take the lazy easy option when you have that kind of lifestyle. So I'm not sure how to best address that. Maybe like deliberately try and reduce some of the easiness. I don't know. I mean, there was one thing that's been bugging me, where I've been really struggling to keep up with consistency on my morning training routine, as well as like the stuff I do before I go to bed as well. And part of that was just because I had the option to not do it. I have two different alarms. One is like the 7 p.m, which leaves the half-hour sort of time gap for me to be able to fit the training in. And then I've got one which is like 7:30, which is where if I feel too tired as I'm going to bed, or if I stay up for too long and I feel like I'm not going to get enough sleep, I'd activate that one, and I'd basically just preemptively condemn myself to skipping training beforehand, because I'm like not giving myself enough time for it. Uh, so I've just gotten rid of that one now. I've just got it. So 7 only. I'm only getting up at that time. Even if I end up doing something silly and getting drawn into the internet vortex and staying up for loads past the bedtime I set, which is like 11. I'm still going to get up at 7. I'm still going to do it anyway. Ideally, hopefully. If I can force myself to always be in that get up at 7, go to bed at 3, if I can try and figure out a way to fix that in, because like on the weekend, like the one day I get off, whether it be Saturday or Sunday, I'll always like just have a lie and sleep until whenever. I'll always like stay up late, really late the night before. I'm probably going to stop that as well, try and force myself into always being the same. If I can make that fixed, solid, it should be easier, I think, to improve the consistency and everything else. Yeah, it's just weird trying to think about how much the mindset you have, your attitude towards different problems affects how well you do in everything. It's like when I was building up for 2-finger push-ups, I hit a lot of walls with that, lots of different problems. Like, it's just, some transitions are really hard. You have to really dig deep to get the reps out, really push hard, or sometimes you'd have injuries and it would feel like it's going to take you out for ages, and like I'd wait a few days, and if it still wasn't healed by then, I'd just do it anyway. It would hurt like hell, but I'd just do the reps anyway, and it would heal faster afterwards actually. But I had a really strong focused mindset, like I really wanted to get there, I really wanted to push myself. I knew I could do it if I just kept at it consistently, and I managed to get there. And I've struggled to regain that same mindset with some of my other recent fitness goals. There's one which is like to get a lot better at doing pull-ups, and I've kind of got like halfway there, but now I'm a bit stuck, so I'm trying to rekindle that. And it's mainly, I think, because I've just been focusing on other things as well. I can't have the focus as laser-like. It's split focus. It's kind of, I don't really know what the best thing to do about that is. How can I have a split focus on things that all require very singular focus? I don't know. I'm going to try and figure out the right way to habitually create a stronger mindset that can just like blast through problems and be much more determined all the time, like more consistently. Because everyone has these moments where you just yield, you just can't be bothered. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's about it, I think. Video's going on for a bit long. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this week. I'll see you next time.